Level 1. The Tribute Child. You wake up on a thin straw mat inside a cramped wooden wagon moving east. The air smells of damp wool, sweat, and fear. You are 12 years old. 2 weeks ago, your name was Stefan, and you lived in a small Christian village in the mountains of Serbia. Today, your name is gone. A Roman official measured your height, checked your teeth, and took you from your mother as part of the Devshirme, the blood tax of the Ottoman Empire. To your family, you are legally dead. You are now the property of the Sultan. You are brought to a remote farm in Anatolia, assigned to a harsh Turkish master. Your job is simple: manual labor until your bones ache. You clear rocks from fields under a burning sun. You till soil until your fingers split open. You learn a language you hate, and you are forced to forget the prayers your mother taught you. You eat cold lentil broth and dry barley bread. If you look at your master the wrong way, the wooden cane meets your back. You survive by turning your heart into a stone. You look at the other stolen boys in the fields. Some cry at night. Those are the ones who die of fever or exhaustion. You do not cry. You listen, you obey, and you wait. You know that if you prove strong enough, the palace will notice you. But being noticed here means your old life is buried forever. Level 2. The Janissary. You are 25 years old, and you have no family but the hearth of your regiment. You are a Janissary, the elite iron fist of the Sultan. You live in the cold stone barracks of Istanbul. Your daily life is governed by absolute, suffocating discipline. You wake to the sound of a brass horn before the first light of dawn. Your morning is hours of brutal military drill. You practice with the heavy matchlock musket until your shoulder is permanently bruised. You swing the curved scimitar until your wrists swell. You own nothing but your weapons and the uniform on your back. You are forbidden to grow a beard, forbidden to marry, and forbidden to engage in trade. The Sultan feeds you, clothes you, and owns your soul. Your regiment is your family, and the giant cooking pot in the center of your barracks is your holy icon. You have marched across the burning sands of Egypt and through the freezing mud of Hungary. You have killed more men than you can remember. The first was a Hungarian knight at the siege of Belgrade. You remember the sound of your blade cracking through his breastplate, the wet choke of his blood, and the look of cold surprise in his eyes. You see his face every time you close your eyes in the dark. If your regiment rebels, you turn your cooking pot upside down. But rebellion means the executioner's silk cord. You march, you kill, and you collect your small wage in leather pouches. You look at the civilian merchants in the markets with quiet contempt. They are free, but they are weak. You are a slave, but your boots step on the necks of kings. Level 3. The Sipahi. You survived the bloody trenches of the border wars, and the Sultan has rewarded you with land. You are now a Sipahi, a feudal cavalryman of the empire. You wear a polished steel cuirass and a silk turban, riding a thoroughbred horse that cost more than a village earns in a year. You have been granted a tamar, an estate in the valleys of Macedonia. You do not own the land, but you collect the taxes from the peasants who work it. Your daily life is no longer about fighting in the mud, but about arithmetic and enforcement. You spend your mornings riding through the fields, counting sacks of wheat, barrels of olive oil, and heads of cattle. You ensure the local Christians pay their jizya tax without murmuring. If a village falls behind on its payments, you burn a barn or seize their horses as a reminder of who holds the whip. You live in a stone manor house with a small courtyard. You have a wife from a local family and 3 children who do not know the smell of a military camp. But your peace is an illusion. Every spring, when the Sultan's banner is raised in Istanbul, a royal messenger arrives at your gate. You must don your armor, gather 3 armed horsemen at your own expense, and ride to war. If you fail to appear, your land is stripped, your family is cast into the street, and you are reduced to a beggar. You spend your winters calculating grain prices, and your summers watching your friends get torn apart by European cannon fire. Level 4. The Pasha. You have climbed out of the mud of the battlefield and into the high halls of administration. You are a Pasha, the governor of the wealthy province of Aleppo. You live in a sprawling palace of white marble and colored tile. Your morning begins in the divan, your judgment hall, where you sit on velvet cushions while a dozen servants fan the air with ostrich feathers. You govern 3 million souls. You decide who lives, who dies, and who gets crushed by taxes. Merchants from Venice and Persia bow until their foreheads touch your rugs, offering you chests of silver, Chinese silk, and rare spices just for the privilege of trading in your markets. Your wealth is staggering. You have a private guard of 200 men and a harem of 30 women from the Caucasus. You eat spiced lamb wrapped in gold leaf and drink sherbet cooled with snow brought from the mountain peaks by runners. But your palace is a house of glass. Half of the taxes you collect must be sent to Istanbul, and the Grand Vizier is always hungry for more. You know that your chief treasurer is a spy for the capital. You know that your favorite wife is whispering secrets to your rivals. Every time you eat, a servant takes a bite from your plate first to check for arsenic. You sleep with a dagger beneath your pillow, listening to the rustle of the silk curtains, wondering if the footsteps outside belong to a guard or a silent killer sent by a jealous rival in the capital. Level 5. The Grand Vizier. You are the shadow of the Sultan, the second most powerful man on earth. You wear a turban taller than a man and a robe woven with threads of pure gold. From the borders of Persia to the gates of Vienna, your word is law. You sit at the head of the imperial divan in the Topkapi Palace, managing an empire that spans 3 continents. You direct armies of 100,000 men, sign treaties with kingdoms, and balance the treasury of the world. Thousands of people flock to your gates every morning, begging for a glance, a signature, or a mercy. You can ruin an ancient family with a single stroke of your reed pen. You can elevate a beggar to a governor overnight. But you are the most terrified man in the city. You know that every Grand Vizier before you for the last 50 years has ended their life the same way. The Sultan is fickle and easily poisoned by whispers. If a campaign fails, it is your fault. If the Janissaries riot for more pay, it is your fault. If the harvest fails in Egypt, it is your fault. You carry the seal of the empire around your neck like a millstone. Yesterday, the Sultan smiled at you during council. Today, he refused to look you in the eyes. You returned to your palace and spent the night writing your will. You look at your children and feel a cold dread, knowing that when you fall, the state will confiscate your wealth and leave your family with nothing but your disgraced name. Level 6. The Sultan. You are the Pasha, the sovereign of the House of Osman, the shadow of God on earth. Your name is shouted in prayers from the mosques of Mecca to the cathedrals of Budapest. You live in the inner sanctum of the Topkapi Palace, a paradise of marble fountains, hidden gardens, and silent eunuchs. Your wealth cannot be measured. The gold of Egypt, the silver of Europe, and the trade of Asia pour into your vaults every hour. When you walk, No one is allowed to make a sound. The court moves in absolute, terrifying silence. You do not speak to common men. Your commands are delivered through signs and whispers to your viziers. You have the power to execute 10,000 men a day without giving a reason. But you are a prisoner in your own paradise. You live in constant, suffocating isolation. You cannot trust a single human being. Your mother tries to control your mind through the harem. Your Grand Vizier plots to replace you with a puppet. The Janissaries outside your window are a sleeping beast that could wake up and demand your head on a platter tomorrow morning. Your greatest terror is your own blood. By the law of the empire, when you took the throne, you had to order the execution of all your brothers to prevent civil war. You watched 19 silk cords carried into the princely quarters. You heard their muffled screams. Now you look at your own sons. They are growing older. They look at you not with love, but with calculation, counting the gray hairs in your beard, wondering when their turn will come. You sleep in a different room every night, locking 3 iron doors behind you. You stare at the golden ceiling while the night breeze rustles the leaves of the cypress trees outside. Far below the palace walls, in a dark wooden wagon, a stolen village boy is crying for his mother. He thinks you are a god. He does not know that you are just a ghost, waiting for the cord to tighten around your neck.